Welcome back to CIA Declassified. We've stepped out of the hallucinogenic fog of BZ and into the vast, dark expanse of the Atlantic. By 1977, the agency had a theory. The human brain isn't just a chemical machine, it's an electrical one. They knew that extremely low frequency waves, or ELF, could penetrate deep into the ocean to communicate with submarines. But they wondered, if those waves could reach a ship, could they reach the minds of the men inside? They wanted a way to disable a fleet without firing a single torpedo. This was the Signal-Buoys. This was Operation Moonstruck. To weaponize the very air and sea, the agency turned the planet's resonance into a tool of war. Operation Moonstruck involved the clandestine deployment of high-powered ELF transmitters designed to broadcast between 3 and 30 hertz frequencies that overlap with human brainwave activity. A quote from a declassified 1978 Naval Research Laboratory memorandum: "The biological effects of extremely low frequency fields on human subjects remains inconclusive but suggests a high correlation with disrupted circadian rhythms and increased irritability in confined environments." End quote. The agency deployed Signal-Buoys disguised as standard weather monitoring equipment across the GIUK Gap, the naval checkpoint between Greenland, Iceland, and the United Kingdom. When the waves hit the crews, the biological response was devastating. In a naval health log that's been declassified, suicide clusters refer to a statistical anomaly where multiple service members sharing the same tight quarters exhibited synchronized depressive spirals leading to self-harm. Because ELF waves resonate at the same frequency as the human heart and brain, prolonged exposure caused entrainment, forcing the crew's neural rhythms to match the artificial hum. This led to collective psychological collapse, manifesting as a sudden localized surge in psychiatric emergencies that overwhelmed shipboard medical facilities. A quote from a declassified log from the USS Saratoga: "An unusual percentage of the crew reports persistent insomnia and a sense of impending doom. Despite calm seas and routine operations, medical bay is at capacity." End quote. The archives reveal the Insomnia-Manifests, detailing how ELF waves at 7.83 hertz, the Schumann resonance, were modulated to prevent the brain from entering deep REM sleep. Declassified 1979 technical specs show that the buoys used a saltwater battery system, allowing them to remain submerged and functional for up to 18 months without surfacing. A quote from a 1980 report by the CIA's Office of Research and Development: "The primary challenge of Moonstruck is the lack of a stop button once the terrestrial ionospheric waveguide is saturated with the target frequency." End quote. According to the files, the agency conducted shoreline tests in Virginia where local hospital records showed a 12% spike in anxiety-related admissions during the hours the ELF transmitters were active. Logs reveal the CIA developed wave cancelers, portable devices for field agents that generated an opposing frequency to protect their own neurological integrity while in the target zone. The declassified release confirms that the buoys were tethered to the seafloor using non-magnetic cables to ensure they didn't interfere with the very electronic signatures they were meant to mimic. While the transmitters are declassified, some of the absolute heaviest redactions and the most blacked out pages surround the orbital tidal sink. Over 1,500 pages of the 1979 Deep Sea Acoustic Audit are completely redacted. Why is the moon reflector data still the agency's most guarded secret? Get ready for the theory of the lunar link. Speculation suggests Operation Moonstruck used the moon as a satellite reflector to beam depression at the Soviet Union. This theory claims the redactions hide the orbital tidal data from 1979, alleging the agency found that the moon's natural gravitational pull could magnify the ELF waves, turning the entire night sky into a psychological weapon. What if the waves weren't radio? A dark rumor suggests the CIA found a siren song in the deep ocean. The theory claims the redactions in the contact logs hide the discovery of an ancient biological hum emitted by something in the Mariana Trench, and that Moonstruck was just the agency recording that song and playing it back to drive sailors insane. Hidden beneath the ink of the geological section, some claim the ELF waves were actually meant to trigger artificial tsunami events. Looking at the blacked out sonar anomaly logs, theorists argue the agency found an underwater civilization communicating on the same frequency. The mass puppet theory posits that the redactions in the behavioral control files hide the fact that Moonstruck could force people to perform physical actions. Paranoid whispers regarding the Bermuda sector files claim the CIA used Moonstruck to open wormholes in the sea, and the black bars hide the missing ship manifest. A terrifying whisper circulating around the blacked-out biological resonance files suggests the ELF waves were tuned to make the iron in human blood vibrate, effectively cooking targets from the inside out, with the black bars masking the boiling point experiments. In the neural latency files, massive redactions cover the reanimation trials, allegedly, showing that the waves could keep a dead brain active for hours, according to some theorists. The solid water theory argues that the redactions prove the agency used Moonstruck to change the density of the ocean, allowing planes to land on the water just like a runway. Lastly, some whisper that the redactions hide the fact that Moonstruck was actually a distress beacon intended for a passing alien fleet, and the black bars mask the deep space response logs. Was Operation Moonstruck a success? Tactically, it was a frightening success. The agency proved they could influence the behavior of thousands of people across a vast area without them ever knowing they were under attack. The suicide clusters among target crews were real. Strategically, it was a disaster. The signal was too broad, it affected American soldiers just as much as Soviet ones, and the ecological damage to marine life was becoming impossible to hide. By 1982, the buoys were deactivated. Moonstruck proved that when you turn the world's heartbeat into a weapon, everyone's heart skips a beat. As far as technological and operational breakthroughs go, the tides of terror left a permanent mark on electronic warfare. For instance, global ELF communication, the foundation for submarine comm systems used by every major navy today. Psychological propagation, the birth of bioelectronic warfare targeting the electrical frequency of the human mind. Ionospheric manipulation, breakthroughs in atmospheric heating led directly to modern weather study arrays. And acoustic stealth, the development of noise masking to hide secret signals inside the natural sound of the ocean. Operation Moonstruck shows us that the agency views the very vibrations of the Earth as a tactical asset. As the files reveal, the ocean isn't just water, it's a conductor for the dark. Thanks for listening, and be sure to join us next time as we examine Project Bizarre. In the 1960s, the agency launched a high-stakes investigation that would merge with Project Pandora, Project Bazaar was the classified non-fiction program to determine if Soviet microwave beams were degrading the mental health of U.S. personnel. We'll uncover the Moscow signal, the covert test on laboratory primates, and the declassified records of the Frey effect, a phenomenon where humans hear internal clicks and buzzes in response to microwave pulses. Join us next time for the invisible beam. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.